I was sitting in a bar in Champaign having dinner one night when this fine young lady texted me a picture of a poor pony with its eyeball hanging out of its head. She saw the thing on Facebook and they were basically giving it away to a good home. So she asked about treatment and surgery costs, and I told her to grab that thing and we'd take care of it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Goodness. Mine's being really slow too.
He's as cute as a button. It just
Any history, like when it happened or what happened or?
Okay.
It was with goats. So maybe.
Did you get horned by a goat?
Yeah.
Did you get horned?
I would say.
Let me sedate him and we'll get a better look and see what. I mean, I don't think there's any saving it, but let me see what we're working with. Ugh. How old is he? A yearling? Or two? He'll be 2. So we gave him a little bit of sleepy juice in the vein, and we're gonna try to get that cleaned up and see what's going on. There's a lot of crusties sitting on there and just miserable looking eye. Checking for any fractures in case he would have fractured part of his orbit or his skull. All of that felt pretty good, so we're gonna block it, numb it, where we can get a real good look and get it cleaned up here. This block here just blocks his eyelid and keeps him from squinting on us. You can see the drugs have kicked in now. He doesn't care about too much, even on the side he can't see. And this fine young lady's daughter, I think, already named him Pirate because they knew he was going to be a one-eyed little pony. Did we order some? Now we're going to get some stuff called proparacaine, and we'll squirt that on the eyeball itself.
I wish
And
I
that'll
didn't do this, and it was much easier than what I
that'll
had.
numb the eyeball itself so we can get in there and clean stuff up.
I don't know how she did it. She put it in there and then put this back in, but I don't know. That's what I had been doing, and I don't know how Jenny did it. I should have asked her. I didn't see any more in here. No. Mm-mm. I'll write it down. I didn't see it when I was...
You've been to the eye doctor? They may have even used this on yourself. So this will numb the eyeball itself and some of that tissue around it where we can clean up and get it quite a bit better look. The little bit of the eyeball I've seen so far is beyond salvage. He's still a little tender, as you can see, but I think he's just got to get used to us being on that side a little since he can't see out of that eye yet. Gonna soak it with some saline and soften some of that stuff up. They said he was turned out with goats. We think he may have took a goat horn to this eyeball. And Keisha, the lady holding the horse that brought us in, one of our really good clients.
Chlorohex are just dry.
She just saw this thing on Facebook and she's got a big heart and felt terrible for it. So I told her we'd help her out and take care of this poor little guy. You got a glimpse of the eyeball there on the left side. You can see there's not much left of it. So what I'm trying to do here is take a little bit better look. You can see how swelled the muscles are around it. And just, I think if the horse physically could, he'd be squinting, but I don't think he's been able to blink his eye because of all the swelling and stuff stuck to it for a while. So and we had already prepared her based on the pictures she sent me that the eye's probably going to have to come out. He was such a good patient through all this too. Don't know how much he'd been handled, but he's got a sore eye and probably not used to being blind on the right side. He's just letting us do everything we need to do.
Oh, buddy. This is going to cover his other eye. Don't freak out, bud. You're good.
These are called eye savers masks.
Yeah,
we put them on
that'll
after
work.
enucleations or if we've got to put a catheter in the eye to protect it. So we were just kind of sizing him up since he's kind of an odd size. I think that was a full one we're going to use on him. We wanted to make sure we had one ready for whenever we sent him home. I'm going to trim away some of this necrotic tissue here. Like I said, we numbed him earlier, and some of this is debris that's stuck to it, and some of it's a little bit of tissue that's already basically dead, so he's not feeling any of this right now. Then we'll get a much better look at the eye with that stuff out of the way. The actual eyeball itself, you can see it's scooted way over towards the left-hand side of his eyelids there. That pink tissue up top, some of the muscles that wrap around the eye to help move the eyeball itself. So now we got it cleaned up and I can get a better look at the actual eyeball, but you can see how big everything is on his right side versus his left. What I'm doing here is called a dazzle. We take a bright light, and if they can see it all, they should, even though he can't physically blink on that right side, we should have seen some reaction like that first time. See how he blinks there? Nothing there. And what I could make out of the eye, there was hardly anything normal in there. I think there was no question that without putting him through a lot more misery and weeks of treatment, that's probably going to not be successful. We decided to go ahead and take the eyeball out. And he's young, so he should adjust well. So Autumn's going to go ahead and scrub, and what we're going to do first, we were very busy that day. We came in early. We didn't really have time for surgery, but the first step of the way we do our surgeries for removing eyeballs is sewing the eyelids shut together, and we do what's called a transpalpebral approach. We actually cut around the eye. We've got a full enucleation video on our YouTube if you want to find that. So to kind of help with the swelling, we're going to go ahead, while we have the chance, go ahead and sew that eyelid shut and get a good wrap on there. Try to get some of that swelling out of there before we proceed to surgery. And Keisha, the lady holding the horse, has already given him a little bit of NSAID per my directions, so he's got some of that on board, and we'll give him some more before we take that out too. Keep him on it for a few days for pain and inflammation. You can see our sedation's working really good on this little guy. So now I'm just going to block the eyelid with lidocaine, similar to what the dentist used if you get a cavity filled or something, just to numb it so he can't feel anything. He may feel the first little poke of a needle, but after that he should be completely numb. We'll hit a couple of the big nerves that come in, then we'll get right under the skin too, just like if you had your cut finger or something they had to sew up. He was so good to work with. Even sedated, some of these guys with an eye like that will fight you the whole time, even though they can't feel anything and they know you're there. And he was just a gentleman the whole time he was at our clinic. We'll get our suture ready. I prefer to use this yellow nylon stuff because I can see it really good. And it's pretty strong too, in case he started to rub, even though we'll wrap him. Put on some sterile gloves, even though we're not 100% sterile. We'll try to keep it as clean as possible, and he'll receive antibiotics and everything to prevent infection in that socket after we take the eye out. So we'll start on the one side and basically put a continuous suture line in there and get the eye completely shut. And that the pressure from the eyelids will help get some of that swelling and inflammation out of there, so we got better chance at a successful surgery. And then you'll notice I leave some tags on each end. You can see at the very end here, on each side of his eyeball and the sides of the lids, you'll see big tags of that yellow suture hanging out. And that I left those because during surgery we can use those as kind of handles to move the eye around a little bit. He didn't feel a thing while we were doing this. Look at his little lip droopy. So you can see my 2 tags I leave there for surgery in the future.
Good.
Okay.
Wrap it.
Yeah. Then we'll put a pressure bandage on there, which is a challenge in a big horse with plenty of real estate to work with, but this little guy.
Up and between the ears and over, and then I went around, like pretty much down.
Yeah.
One lap around there. Can I take the end of this
Autumn
neck
does
off?
most of this. She can get pretty
Get
creative
around
with
his neck.
elastic bandage and scissors on these guys, because we got to make sure it doesn't slip down and affect the other eye. We got to go around his jaw. We got to make sure he can still eat and chew and it doesn't slip down and get around his throat. So we'll watch him pretty close throughout the day after we get this wrap on there to make sure it's not slipping or anything. And he's got lots of forelock we'll have to work around. So what Autumn's opening there is a non-adherent pad. That way any of the little bit of blood won't stick to anything. And when we go to peel the bandage off, nothing will stick to the
I think this
the
will be
eye.
better for him because it's not as wide.
We got a mini horse, and we'll use mini elasticon, the stuff Autumn's unrolling there. We'll kind of make our own custom Band-Aid. He's really going to look like a pirate here in a minute.
He does. Make sure it's pretty loose down here is what I did, so he could still open his mouth real good. Yeah. And I'll cut that to make sure he can move his ear. Then if we're going to look at it tomorrow, this will probably be good enough.
Let's try to catch that back.
Okay.
We can cut it underneath. Is it really above that line?
Mm-hmm. There we go. If we get in there, I can glue this in down and he won't be able to.
Just making sure everything's good. Autumn will work her magic with the scissors here. And the plan was to kind of monitor him today and take the wrap off tomorrow and see what the swelling looked like.
Take and cut here so his ear has plenty of room. Like that. Probably cut a little slit here just to make sure there's plenty. And around the eyeball. Just to make sure nothing rubs. And then I will cut underneath here. Oh, he's so hairy. They did.
This is another one of those cases I think he knows we're trying to help him. He's been so good through all this.
All right, baby boy, huh? You ready to go? Is he? Oh, yes. Thank you.
We use a lot of super glue on our bandages like this so the tags
Just a
don't.
little bit of
don't
super
roll up.
glue.
It'll just stick to the
Maybe.
bandage itself and not him. Otherwise, they can start
Glue
unwrapping
that down
sometimes.
so he doesn't. If he does rub, he won't pull the bandage apart as easy. All right, buddy. Think you're all good, huh? Is there a stall ready? Hi, baby. Hi. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Huh? Oh. When did you give him Butte last?
Around 4:30
Last night?
last night.
Okay.
I didn't give him any this morning, just in
Okay.
case.
I'll tell Travis. He may want to give him just a little. Did you give him just like a half a scoop or like
And he told me to do a quarter.
quarter?
A
Okay.
quarter grain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what I did. Yep. Or lock.
We're there.
On to your home for the next few days, Pirate. Horses with
buddy,
only
come
one
on.
eye, their depth perception can be a
So,
little
whoa,
bit
dude,
off.
come
So
on.
steps
You're
and
okay.
doors can be a little bit of a challenge for him at first.
You're good. Come on.
And he's
Come
still
on,
a little
buddy.
sedated.
He's like, I can't see this side. Huh? I think if I leave this halter on, it may help keep this bandage on. I don't care to stay late tomorrow if...
Well, I want to give that a good day. Pressure, try to get some of that swelling.
As I say, I can't stay late tonight, but I could stay late tomorrow night. I'll have my horses here, but they'll be fine. Tyson's coming to shoe.
Depending on what time we get back.
Mm-hmm. Then come back. I don't care. Then I could run my horses home, and I don't care to come back and help you tomorrow night. And if you want to go home and put the girls in bed, I don't care to come back later, and we could, heck, I can bring John dinner, and we can eat, and then take the eyeball out, and no, it shouldn't. I know, poor Keisha. She's got such a big heart.
Oh, I guarantee, yeah.
But luckily,
You rolling?
somebody canceled an appointment that afternoon, so we decided just to go ahead and get that eyeball out of there, get him feeling better. It seems like it would be a major surgery, and it is involved, but it's one we do routinely standing, And most of these guys that have eyes like that, as soon as we get that eyeball out, they start feeling better immediately. So even just being wrapped for about 6 hours, some of that swelling and edema had gone down quite a bit. So I felt comfortable proceeding with the surgery. So all of our blocks wore off. You can see he's a little less painful when we push on it. He's got some NSAIDs on board, so.
Let's get our stool and see if he'll.
Okay. We need to turn him to your table.
He's a little bit sedated again here in this video.
Well, let's clip him and prep him here. Then we'll take him over there.
So just like any surgery, we got to prepare the site. We'll get all the hair off of there, or we can get a good surgical scrub. And those stitches I told you about earlier that I leave the tag on, my clumsy self cut the one off with these clippers here. And who knows if this horse has ever seen clippers, and even some that are sedated, they blow up. But he was just such a good little patient during all this. We all fell in love with him. Get all the hair off there. Autumn will get a good scrub on there. We'll block everything. The blocks for this is a little bit more involved. I'll hit the nerves coming around it. And then there's also a big nerve at the back of the eye called the optic nerve, and that's what we'll block here. I take a spinal needle and curve it to match their socket. Go right under the eye socket and curve it back around the eyeball, right down to the nerve, and put the local anesthesia right there. There's a couple other techniques, but this one tends to work the best. So we'll do it on the top and then a couple other spots around the eye too. So we don't want him to feel a thing. So we got him prepped now, got a scrub on there, and he's a little bit small for our headstand, so we used a stool. The eye came out, no complications. Everything went great. We'll put a similar wrap on as we did earlier, maybe just a little bit more pressure because that eye socket's going to fill with blood, and we want to make sure it clots good, doesn't leak out. But even with all that swelling, the surgery site closed great, so he's got a very good prognosis. And while we were doing surgery, I didn't know it, but John, the man behind the camera, was texting Keisha, and they worked out a deal. So as of right now, John is the new owner of Pirate, who is going to belong to a little girl in a few years. So we kept Pirate there during the week, and we changed his bandages and checked the incision to make sure everything was doing good. It looked great. Got him on antibiotics, and he's already feeling better in this video. You can tell how much spunkier he is than when he walked in. Got a belly full of hay and lots of loving during the day. Now we just got to get him used to having a decreased field of vision on that right side. But he seems pretty smart. I think he'll adjust just fine. One lucky little mini right there. So big shout out to Keisha for taking time out of her day and going to get this guy and just giving him a chance. Here he is at John's horse messing with his old rope horse who's in his early 20s, and you can see he's tolerating no Pirate pretty good. I think he's gonna fit in just fine. These guys can be a little ornery. Kind of like small dogs. They got the little man syndrome sometimes, but he's a sweet little dude. Here he is a few days later. The incision looked great, so we told John he can go ahead and kind of quit wrapping. He's doing pretty good. He's wearing that eye saver mask when John's not got him on a lead rope. So, another success story. He is feeling great, so we'll post some updates as we go down the road. He gets a little training on him, and hopefully you all get to see a little cute little girl riding him soon. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, And check out our podcast too on all the streaming platforms.